If you're planning a sauna and you're not sure what heater size you actually need, this video is for you. Get the heater size wrong and you end up with a lukewarm box that never feels like a real Finnish sauna, or you oversize it, you cook the ceiling and still don't get that really good load. In this video, I'll walk you through step by step how sauna heater sizing actually works. We'll cover how to calculate the cubic footages of your sauna, how glass, tile, stone, other cold surfaces change that number, and how to sanity check the final result so you don't regret your purchase. My name is Anton, I'm a Finnish-born sauna expert at thesaunaheater.com, and I've helped thousands of people size and build their saunas. And let's get into it. Heater sizing comes down to a simple question. How much work does the heater have to do to heat your room and keep it hot? That work is driven by three things: the interior volume of the sauna itself, the amount of cold heat stealing surfaces like glass and tile, and how well the room is insulated and constructed. If you understand those three, you understand heater sizing. Everything else is just plugging in the numbers into the right formula. The first step is always the basic room volume. So grab that tape measure and measure the finished interior of your hot room, wall to wall, floor to ceiling, not framing, not what's on the architect's plans, the actual inside dimensions. Take the length, width, and the height and multiply them together. If your sauna is, for example, 6 feet wide, 7 feet deep, and 7 feet high, you do 6 times 7 times 7, and that gives you 294 cubic feet. That's your raw volume. If you have a sloped ceiling, don't overcomplicate it. You can just take the average height or then split the room mentally into two boxes, calculate both, and then add them together. The goal is simply to get a realistic number for how much air you need to heat. At this point, if all your walls and ceiling were wood and you just had a small window, for example, your raw volume would already be pretty close to what the heater actually sees. But modern saunas usually aren't that simple. This is where most DIY sauna builders go wrong. Not all surfaces behave like warm wood. Glass, tile, stone, and exposed concrete pull heat out of the room much faster. To your heater, a big glass front or a tiled wall makes the room feel significantly larger than the basic length times width times height number. Sauna heater manufacturers solve this by using what you can think of as like a virtual extra volume. They start from your raw cubic footage and then add extra effective volume for each square foot of glass, tile, stone, or concrete. So a glass door plus a side window might add a certain amount, or then a full glass front and a fully tiled wall add a lot more. The catch is that those multipliers aren't always static. Brands might update them, or different manufacturers use slightly different factors. That's why I'm not going to anchor you on a specific multiply glass by X number here. You'll be out of date the moment the manufacturer changes that on its table. What you should do instead is measure interior volume like we just did, then measure the glass area of your door or any windows, for example, and then measure any big tiled, stone, or concrete surfaces inside the hot room, except the floor won't matter. Then plug those numbers into a calculator that already knows the current manufacturer rules and does the adjustments for you. We've built exactly that on our website. You enter your room dimensions, your glass, your tile, your stone areas, and it calculates the adjusted cubic footage using the latest formulas from each heater manufacturer. For the most up-to-date sizing logic, use that calculator. The link is down below. Even if the math is perfect, construction still matters. Most heater sizing tables assume a properly built Finnish-style sauna. That means insulated stud walls, a good vapor barrier, wood on the inside, and a well-insulated ceiling. If that's what you're building, you're in the standard case. But if you're building an outdoor cabin in a colder climate, the ceiling becomes even more important. Hot air always rises, so poor ceiling insulation is like cutting a hole in the top of your sauna. The heater has to work constantly to replace that lost heat, and in that situation, when the calculator gives you a kilowatt range, it's usually smart to choose the higher end of that range. Ceiling height is the other big one that people forget. If you build a very tall ceiling with low benches, you're paying to heat up a huge bubble that nobody's gonna be sitting in. Your feet and legs stay down in the coldest layer of the room, your head cooks, and the thermometer doesn't even tell the full story. Ideally, you design the benches so that your feet are at or above the top of the stones. That way your whole body's inside the hot, even layer of air. If you can't change your ceiling height, then raise those benches up. And if you don't do that, expect the sauna to feel weaker than the numbers suggest, even if the heater is technically sized correctly. So, good insulation, especially in the ceiling, and the smart bench height makes the heater's job much easier to do and your experience much better. Once you know your adjusted cubic footage, which is basic volume plus any extra for cold surfaces, the rest is just mapping that volume to a heater size. Every manufacturer has a table. From this many cubic feet to that many, you use this kilowatt heater. From that range to the next, you go one size up. So, what happens if you get this wrong? If you end up undersizing the heater, the room may never reach the proper finished temperature, especially in winter times if you're in colder climates. Then also heat up times become a lot longer and frustrating, and the heater just has to work overtime trying to keep the space warm and most likely will break prematurely. But if you oversize an electric heater by a lot, the air near the ceiling gets very hot while the benches and surfaces will be cooler and the stones will be cold. And you'll also end up with harsh radiant heat by your head without that deep, even warmth in your body, and you can basically tell where the heater is when you close your eyes, and that's not the idea. Wood-fired heaters, on the other hand, are more forgiving in terms of feel, but the same principle applies, because you want a firebox that matches the room so you're not burning through wood for no reason, or fighting to keep the room hot because the stove is too small. The goal is not get the biggest heater you can afford, the goal is to get the right heater for your adjusted volume and construction. Let me walk you through one simple example to see how it works in real life. Let's say you're building a sauna that's 6 feet by 7 feet by 7 foot ceiling, then that's 294 cubic feet of raw volume. You're planning a full glass front, so you measure the glass area in square feet, which in this case will be 6 times 7 equals 42 square feet. Then multiply that square footage with whatever manufacturer's heater you'll be going for, since they have their own multipliers depending on what manufacturer you go for. Let's use an example multiplier of 2 here. So 42 square feet times 2 equals 84. Once we have that number, we just add that number on top of the cubic footage. So 294 plus 84 equals 378 adjusted cubic feet. And now you want to look in for a heater that can handle that 378 cubic foot space instead of that 294, since that glass front requires a larger heater to compensate for heat loss. Simple as that. Here are a few mistakes I see over and over again. People ignore those cold surfaces completely and then size the heater like it's a little wooden box. Even though there are glass walls there, then they wonder why it never feels hot enough. Or then they build very tall rooms with low benches and then blame the heater instead of their layout. If your feet are on the floor and the ceiling is miles above your head, you're always going to feel like you're chasing that heat. And then the classic, of course, copy a friend's heater size because it worked for them without realizing their friend's sauna had different dimensions, different glass, different insulation, and probably a different climate. Don't do that. Do this instead. Measure interior volume, measure your glass and any other cold surfaces in there, and run those numbers through a calculator that actually is up to date with what the manufacturers are recommending right now. So to recap the process, first, measure your interior length, width, and height, and calculate the basic volume of your sauna. Second, measure any glass, tile, stone, or concrete inside the hot room. Don't count the floor, that won't matter. Third, plug those numbers into the heater sizing calculator on our website, and that will give you the adjusted cubic footage, the recommended kilowatt range, and the specific heater models that will fit that range. If you want to do that now, the link is down below. And if even after that, you're still not sure which heater you want to pick, you can always reach out to us for help, and we'll run the numbers for you and help you pick the right heater for your exact build. If you want to go deeper on building a really good sauna, watch our videos on bench layout and sauna ventilation next. Correct heater sizing, proper benches, and good ventilation together are what makes a sauna feel genuinely Finnish. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.